What's going on, everybody? Trev Wilson here. Welcome back to the Bourbon Ranch. Today, we have the latest batch of Midwinter Night's Dram. This is the Act 11. Now, I'm always super excited to get these. This is like the quintessential wintertime pour. I mean, it says midwinter in the middle of it, okay? But when the weather starts cooling down, this is when these batches start releasing. And I'm always looking forward to these releases. So sticking with the tradition of the Midwinter Night's Dram, this is a rye whiskey that is finished in ruby port. Well, I say ruby port. They used to say ruby port. Now it just says port. Don't know exactly how much that's going to change things if they, tawny, ruby, whatever. They just say port barrels on there now. But that's kind of what it's been saying for the past couple of years. Sticking with the 49.3% alcohol. This is scene 5. I don't know what scene 1, 2, 3, or 4, if they're any different than scene 5, but this is Act 11, okay? So there you go. Retail on this, I'm not exactly sure what this retails for. I think it's like $130-ish, but there's no telling what you will come across. I've seen stores selling it for like $200+, so it's really up in the air how cool your store is. All right, let's just get into it, see how it smells, how it tastes, and we're gonna compare it to last year's Act 10 to see how different it is. Just that way you have a basis. If you are someone who had last year's, you'll know kind of the direction this year's is going. So first thing I've noticed before we even get into it, the color of this is absolutely, it's crazy. I don't think the camera is going to do it justice at all. It is so amber colored. It makes me think this is the amber wax that the mosquito from Jurassic Park flew into, and we're drinking it. So let's see if it smells like that. Nice and fruity. That's always something I love about rye finished in port barrels, is that you get that effervescence spiciness. Like you're getting the spice from the rye, but the wine really comes through. It's just sweet and spicy all in one go. A lot of strawberry, a lot of fig, a lot of jam notes. I'm just getting tons of almost, I'm thinking of breakfast croissants, you know what I'm saying? So I'm getting some sort of maybe pumpernickel bread, but then I'm getting fruitiness, I'm getting jamminess. It's like an Italian breakfast in a glass, and I freaking love it. But all that matters is how it tastes, so let's go. The first thing that jumps out to me is thinking back on the past couple of releases of a Midwinter's, is that they seem to be, and we will figure this out in a second when we compare it directly, but from memory, it seems like they're all so much port forward on the palate where it just completely hides the rye notes. It's like I'm just almost just drinking a fortified wine or brandy or something at that point. It's very finished. This one, on the palate, you are getting the rye character that went into this. It is not being hidden by the port. The sides of the tongue are definitely that kind of sour grape. I'm getting that jam from the port, but all in the middle of my palate is high west rye. Just tons of cinnamon, almost like a gingerbread man. So I'm thinking of a lot of cinnamon. I'm thinking a lot of fruit. Cinnamon apples, a cinnamon apple wielding gingerbread man. The heck did I come up with this? I don't know, I keep drinking it. It's very fruity, okay? It is very fruity. I guess it's a little lighter. I think it is showing some of the lighter characteristics from the rye, and it's not getting too porty. If you've had a port, it is thick, it is molassesy and just coats your mouth. I think this one drinks a little lighter, but still very fruity. A lot of jam, strawberry jam. I'm thinking a little more of the brighter fruit characteristics. But yeah, it's quite good. It kind of reminds me a little more, maybe a couple, I don't know, the first one I've had, I think I've tried 5 and 6. I started owning these bottles at Act 7. And this one reminds me maybe a little more of those, whereas a little more of the rye. And I think as we've gone, I think they've just gone more and more and more port heavy. And then I think this one was like, hey, let's take a step back a little bit, you know, tone it down a little bit. I think what we should do is compare it directly to the Act 10, last year's, and see how they compare. Because here's the thing, we can think about how things were and remember them this way and remember that way. Unless you side by side them, you really don't know. So here's the 10. See, that is just, it's so much darker. Okay, I'm thinking this one is like stewed fruits, plums, thick, dark, viscousy fruit, okay? I think this one's much more in your raspberry, strawberry, getting in that way a little bit of cherry, a little bit of dark cherry, some fig, so it's getting dark, but they stopped it. They stopped it from going all the way. See, this one on the palate just drinks so less spicy. There's not a lot of the cinnamon. There's not a lot of any sort of rye notes. There is no tingling of my tongue. There is no effervescent, green, bright, fresh notes. It is all dark. It's all friggin' plum, dark cherry. You know, I'm not getting really any of the rye characteristics, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I actually really like that. It's just thinking about a rye finished in wine. This could be a bourbon, this could be, I don't know. I'm getting a lot of the finishing on it, whereas this one, I think, allows those rye barrels to shine. I mean, just comparing them, the way they make your tongue tingle, you know what I'm saying? That's when I say spiciness, I'm referring to what the spice would be doing to my mouth, and this one does that to me, this one doesn't. You know, I don't know which one I like better. I think they are so different that you almost just needed both. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the cool thing to do. I think you shouldn't put out the same thing every time, especially when you're going for Act 11, Act 12, whatever. It's a new act. It should be different. It should have its own characteristics, its own identity. And I think they complement each other, to be honest, having both of them. I feel like I could start the night with this one. It's brighter, it's spicier, gets you lively, and then after, you know, this one's much desserty. You know, go sit by the fire and relax with this one. So, I don't know which one I like better. I think I like them equally as good in their own way. I think maybe if you're into rye, like you want your finished rye to have rye, I would say the Act 11 is far superior in that aspect to last year's, just because it was kind of overtaken by the finish. So you got to ask yourself that. You also got to ask yourself, you know, these prices are just rising and rising and rising. I think this is just a staple to me. Shout out Janelle, always muling these out of the state for me. But they're stable, and I think they're cool to collect and see the differences. And to me, in this day and age market, and what I want to spend my money on, you know, I'm cool with these. The marketing, love the marketing, love the bottle. The bottles are awesome. But this batch is definitely really, really good. So if you've skipped out on a couple batches, if you didn't like last year's whatever, I think this is a step in a direction that I think you or we aren't used to for the past several batches. So keep that in mind, and happy hunting. Good luck. Go stand in line or go find them. I don't know. It's all different depending on your market. So leave a comment down below what you think of this year's batch and how you thought it compared to other batches you have. Remember to like and subscribe if you are new here. And if you want, pick up some of these cool merch glasses that I have, go check out the Bourbon Wrench Patreon page. I'm on scene 10 of glasses. There's some people out there I have stocked their whole bar of glasses, so we got a lot of glasses. We also have several barrel picks releasing, so if you want some cool bottles, go check that out. And until next time, I'm Trev Wilson. I will see you guys next video.